Good evening, wonderful viewers. Once again, you are welcome to Fine TV, and you are also welcome to Edusa Hour. That comes your way from 5 o'clock on Sundays. It has been a while. The program has not been aired due to one reason or the other. Today we have a fascinating program, which we've already done with the part one, which was the debate between the Secretaries General that has already taken place, that between Honorable Bireso and then Mr. Keba S. Juara, who is called the Panacea. So we are continuing with the same by making sure we also bring other candidates who are vying for different positions other than the Secretary General position. This time around, we have the IPROs, the Information and Communication Ministers, the aspirants, those who are vying for this position to make sure our information and communication issues are catered for and also are given the right proportion that they should be given. So we all understand how information is, how vital it is, and how important it needs to be when it comes to students of the university, as they are always eager to know what is going on. And for that being the case, these are the gentlemen from the different camps in the School of Education who are here to tell us the reason or the reasons why they are the right candidate to be voted in as the IPRO of the 14th Executive Council. Currently, before we start, both candidates are serving under the Ministry of Information, which I am spearheading as the IPRO. And they are here today not as members of the committee, but as candidates from Team Renaissance and from Team SSC with the Students Service Council. They'll tell us briefly who they are, and from there we move on to different areas which are very important. They'll tell us their policies and why we should actually vote them in. We'll start with Mr. Ismail Ajasi, who is currently serving in the Committee of the Information and Communication Ministry. And then we have Mr. Sanu Jallo, who is called Mamadou Sanu Jallo, who is also serving under the same ministry with the Information and Communications Ministry of the 13th Executive Council. So we'll start with you, Mr. Ismail Ajasi. Briefly, tell us who Ismail Ajasi is, and from there we move on to the other questions we have here.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable IPRO, Mr. Lamin Sane, for granting me that latitude. Hello, viewers. Good evening. Welcome to Fine TV. I am Ismail Ajasi, the aspiring candidate for the position of Information and Communication Minister under the placard of Team Renaissance, a qualified teacher teaching with over 6 years of teaching experience. I've been a current active student in the University of the Gambia, particularly the School of Education. A former and current serving member of both the 12 and 13 Executive Council. I have served in various councils, that is 12 and 13 Executive Councils in various capacities. I serve in the 12th Executive Council as a secretarial member, currently serving in the 13th Executive Council as a committee member, the only committee member with double functions, responsible for all the graphic designs, IT-related jobs, and all the writing processes as well. Currently also I am the CEO and the co-founder of Jasi Technologies. This is a tech company responsible for offering various IT-related services to institutions, politicians, including Edusa. And finally, I'm an IC2 tutor and also the current head of Department of St. Francis Senior Secondary School in IT. I'm an educationist, a veteran tutor. I've been tutoring several educational courses in the University of the Gambia under the School of Education. Since my first year, I've tutored history of education, sociology of education, psychology of education, academic and information literacy skills, methodology of teaching science, and many more. So I'm a senior education student, a final year biology and political science student, a computer science student. Thank you very much for granting me.
Thank you very much. That is Mr. Ismail Ajasi, who is an aspiring candidate for Team Renaissance in the upcoming Edusa election. From there, we have Mamadou Sanu Jallo. Mr. Jallo, can you briefly tell us who you are and why? From there we move on to the other questions we have here. Briefly, introduction.
All right, thank you, Honorable Lamin Sane. I am very happy to be here, and good evening to all the viewers that are watching Fine TV currently. My name is Mamadou Sanu Jallo, born and bred in Basir Santasu, and a third-year student in the School of Education, majoring in English language and minoring in agricultural science. And I am a correct member of the 13th Executive Council Information Ministry, as you made mention earlier. And I have served in various associations within, from my senior school to the University of the Gambia. I was the president of the UNESCO club in Nasir Senior Secondary School, which I personally led for a whole academic year. And currently, I am serving under you as a dispatch writer and other related matters when it comes to information sharing. So I am a leader par excellence, and I have led association. Currently, I am the Secretary General of a reputable association or a charitable organization in URR called the Hope Road Family, which I am serving up to date. And I have served in many other portfolios as presidents of associations, ranging from my upper basic school to my senior secondary school. And I have served immensely, and I have served actively in all these associations that I have served. And that is Mamadou Sanu Jallo for you, the aspiring candidate for IPRO on the team SSC, a team that believes in competence and a team that believes in proactiveness. So thank you. That is Mamadou Sanu Jallo for you.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for that brief introduction. We now move on to the very important topic, or the very important question that we have here. As we rightly started with Mr. Ismail Jassi, we will now start with Mr. Jallo. Briefly, or in detail, tell us the reason why we should actually vote you in as the IPRO come November 15th.
Thank you very much. I believe and I think that is a very important question. As an aspiring candidate, I must believe I have some traits and some qualities that made me fit for the position that I am aspiring for, that is the IPRO ministry. And as an IPRO minister, we all have to agree that an IPRO minister should be someone who is very good in communication, and it should be someone who is good at writing, because the IPRO ministry is it is a medium between the executive and the general student body, and as a medium between the students and the executive council and the general student body, you should be very good in writing. You should be having a very good communication skills, and I believe I possess this. I am a passionate writer and a passionate reader, so I read different articles, I read books, I read novels. This has given me the insight, and this has given me a knowledge, a fountain of knowledge that I can translate into the ministry when I come into office, in order to deliver services that are top-notch to the Education Students Association. Not only that, I am a member of the 13th Executive Council Information Ministry, and I have learned not only from that ministry, I've learned from other experiences, and from that ministry too, I have learned and improved myself when it comes to information delivery, when it comes to contacting the students where information is involved. So I think I am a fit candidate and a better candidate, because writing is a skill, writing is an art, and in order to be able to communicate, writing must be involved, communication must be involved, and you as an IPRO must have the communication skills to send in information, a timely information, accurate information, and a clear information. So in doing that, you have to have the art. These are not things that we are born with. These are not innate things. These are things that you achieve through practicals, through going through experiences. And I have gone through these experiences. I have learned, I have understood, and I have adopted to different situations where these informations are involved. And I have made great achievements within this. So this I believe, if translated by me in my ministry, I'll produce a ministry for the Education Students Association that will deliver exactly the services that the Edusans yearn. And I believe I am a fit candidate for this position, because I have all these abilities and attitudes and the characteristics and traits, as I mentioned earlier. And I believe these traits are traits that every IPRO minister, aspiring IPRO minister, must have. If you lack these traits, if you lack these experiences, you would not be able to deliver up to expectations, regardless of all odds. the IPRO minister must be someone who is good at communication, must be someone who can write. So I believe these are things that Mamadou Sanu Jallow has at his disposal, and I will use this meticulously, meticulously, and deliver services that are top-notch, services that are apart with the general requirement of the Education Students Association. So this is why I opt for this, and I believe I have everything that it takes to do the job and do it perfectly.
Thank you very much for that answering of the question, which is why we should actually vote you in as the IPRO. Mr. Jassy, you've heard what Mr. Jallo said. Rightly, we now ask you the same question. That is to say, what are the qualities or what is the reason why we, the students of the Education Students Association, should actually vote in Mr. Ismail Jassy as our IPRO come November 15th?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Amzana, for granting me the latitude once again. I just want to put one thing here across. The Information and Communication Ministry is a creative ministry. This is the only ministry that requires creativity. And a person who must be there as the Information and Communication Minister, you are required to possess various skills. Writing skills is not an exceptional. It goes far beyond mere writing. This is a ministry that requires various skills. You must communicate, you must be able to write, you must have that ability to be able to use modern related technology to enhance effective, proper, and vibrant communication system. Having said all this, I, Ismail Jassy, I serve in the 12th Executive Council as a secretarial member. I've been learning, I've been writing, during the tenure of the 12th Executive Council. I draft memos, I write proposals. I was part of the first student who drafted the original draft report of the original version of the concept note that was delivered to the GTU. 33 female students were trained on the usage of sanitary pads. I drafted this original version. I still have this in the archive. Writing is never a problem to me. I did this in the 12th Executive Council. Coming to the 13th Executive Council, initially I was even part of the 13th Executive Council in the Secretarial Committee. I was really polite due to inefficiency, due to lack of certain things that were not in place. Because it was seen that my skills, my expertise, my experience, my confidence, my credibility is highly crucial, is very much needed in the Information and Communication Ministry. That was why I have to be deployed. The body had deployed me from the Secretariat to the Information Ministry, that if you are not there, that ministry is going to be handicapped. Having these two experience, serving in the 12th Executive Council, as a professional writer, as a creative writer, and serving in the 13th Executive Council, being the only committee member, having double roles, been called as the double engine of the Information and Communication Ministry of the 13th Executive Council, of course. I've been drafting dispatches from scratch, and I've been designing flyers. I'm a professional designer, all the IT-related matters as far as the 13th Executive Council is concerned, and when doing the job. These two things are not enough. What I want to improve on Edusa is that this ministry is a creative ministry. It goes far beyond mere writing. It is the only ministry that an individual needed to have these communication skills, writing skills, ICT-related skills, to ensure that students, properly absorb whatever material is coming there. I will just take you back to a small history. In the 12th Executive Council, when I was first, appointed as a committee member, before that, in fact, I always remember this statement saying that, this thing, do not be asking what your people can be doing for you, what can you do for your people. I approached, say, the 12th Executive Council President. I told him, look, I'm a professional graphic designer. I have various IT-related skills. I have very good, writing skills. I want to work openly, voluntarily. They didn't know this about me. So, and I am happy to report that I was the first student who initiated the flyer policy in the 12th Executive Council. Back in the days, people used to write raw information. This makes people to be bored. They cannot be reading all this information. That is why it is very much important. When I came up with this, and it was really important, it helped the Information and Communication Ministry when they are communicating without burdening people with so much writing. So the experience, the confidence, the credibility is there. That is why the team I write on that team Renaissance. We always have what we call as the 5-point agenda, and part of this 5-point agenda, we are here the capacity building, digitalization. These are part of the policies that we will be talking about. So I am somebody who have been writing in the 12th Executive Council. I am somebody who is still writing in the 13th Executive Council. The experience, the intellectual dexterity, the credibility, the confidence is already there. I'm not going to learn on the job. I have been learning. I have the experience. All what is needed now for me to be on top of things. I serve in the 12th as a committee. I serve in the 13th as a committee. Now I want to be on top of things. This is why I am vying for this position. So with the experience, with the credibility and confidence, I am highly unmatched. I cannot be compared to any other person for this position because this is a creative ministry. It's a delicate ministry. It's a very sensitive ministry. That goes far beyond writing. We have a committee. There are certain skills. By now, if at all, these skills were not there. I do imagine that I'm the only professional graphic designer for the 13th Executive Council. I've been designing flyer for them. Designing a flyer, you could charge somebody 150 or 200, or even designing certificate. But I was saying, I've been doing all this work for the 13th Executive Council. If at all I was charging them for money, knowing fully well that the Edusa Association is a non-profit organization. Having somebody of my type who has these skills already, if you come into the ministry, there's no need to hire somebody outside. You cannot be telling somebody to be designing for you, to be doing those IT-related work for you, without paying the person. And we are not financially strong as an association. So I have that skill. The good news is that I have the writing skills, I have the communication skills, I have the IT-related skills. I have all these modern tools that I can be able to use and translate in order to ensure a effective, proper, and vibrant communication system. So I'm highly unmatched for this position. The institutional knowledge and the experience is highly unmatched. So I'm the only candidate who really deserves to be in this position. Highly unmatched. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Highly unmatched, according to Mr. Ismail Jassi. I'll come back to you, Mr. Jassi. As an IPRO, what do you think is your strength, that we should actually look into and then also use as a yardstick to measure how great you would be in that particular position when you come in as the IPRO?
Thank you very much, Mr. Sane, for that wonderful question again. I think I'll just make one or two things here. As I said it earlier on that the Information and Communication Ministry, this ministry is a creative ministry. That was why if you look at section 16, paragraph 2 of the Edusa final draft constitution, it clearly stated that the IPRO shall be responsible for the Edusa website. I completely do a thorough review. People will be surprised that I have already conducted a research. I have reached out to over hundreds of students within the School of Education. I'll be calling people and telling you, sir, are you able to prepare a PowerPoint presentation? Are you able to use modern tools to generate references in text citation? They'll be telling me, no, sir, do you want to help us? Because these are part of what? Good communication skills. So what is important here is to be a good information minister. There are two peculiar skills that must be needed, and that is, much, needed for this ministry to function. Number one of that one is what? The writing. The writing is never a problem. The good news is that I've been doing that process. I've been writing. I wrote one of the most powerful concept notes, which led to the training of 33 female students. Meaning, I have learned writing skills, during the, tenure of the 12th Executive Council, and I've been writing before even coming there. So it's like I sat in the previous council, I've been writing there letters, appointment letters, concept notes, minutes, and writing proposals, and come to the 13th Executive Council again. I, the only member with double functions, I do draft dispatches from scratch. My role was very crucial during the nationwide tour. I was working with the media and the communication team. They have been frequently sending updates. When my opposing candidate here, he was never to be found. The nationwide tour is one of the most crucial, the most critical, the most significant, the most vital, the most important, and the most, tangible event that any education student, particularly if you are working in the council, you must not afford to miss. I was being penalized, and I was teaching at stand-in, as a TT. I told the principal that, what, I'm going for the nationwide tour. He told me that, but you have to be here until the term closes. But I told him, well, I'm working in the council, and now that everything is over, I've been observed. I have my 2 observations, and exams, classes are no more effective. He told me, if you go, I'm going to report you. And I was reported, and I was somehow penalized for that because my role was very crucial in the nationwide tour. So the two things here is the writing skill, which I already possess because I've been writing. The most crucial thing for this ministry to function is creativity. You must have that ICT-related skills. Designing, Edusa is already rebranded now. Edusa is one of the most vibrant sub-associations. Edusa is one of the most popular sub-associations. Edusa is one of the most leading sub-associations. This is because of me. Every program, I'll be writing, designing flyers. I was the only student who created that video, which led to the viral, selling of the tickets, the nationwide tour. People were very happy. I designed that video and it was out. So that publicity is very much important. That is why in section 16, paragraph 2, it says the IPR must be responsible for the website. And this website is not available. And this website has significantly affected the association in various ways. Of course, we are very good writers in the School of Education. We are very good players in the School of Education. These people deserve the publicity. They deserve the credit. At least their work, what they are doing. Sometimes if I read some of these messages about certain students who are, I say, wow, the public supposed to, have, know about this. So that was why these are even part of the reason that propelled me, catapultized me, and encouraged me, epitomized me, motivated me to vie for this position. Because one of the qualities of a good leader is problem-solving skills. And this problem cannot be solved if I'm not on top of things. I'm already working in the ministry. I know the problem is there. One of the problems is they lack the website. And this website is hindering the association development and function in various ways. People don't have the ability when they write their works are not published in the media. This is because the website is not available and the technical know-how is there, the skill is there, the intellectual dexterity is there to be able to build this website from scratch. I already developed the prototype, so students are going to have this opportunity to be able to upload their works, to be able to upload their various related academic materials to online, and that credit must be given to them. These are some of the reasons, that even encouragement of our such positions. And we have more reasons that I will say as the program unveils why I am vying for this position. Because this position is a creative ministry. It requires one to have various skills. Not only my writing. If this was only writing, I would not vie for this position. I would have been maintained in the secretariat, even in the present as a responsible. I was working in the secretariat. But I deem it very necessary. There are a lot of lapses, there are a lot of lacunas, there are a lot of things that must be adjusted, that needed to be improved in the information and communication ministry in terms of the visibility, in terms of how editors should be, visible, how they should have that publicity. That is why I was really polite. I have to come to this ministry to ensure that some of these problems are addressed, they are solved, so that Edusa can go forward. That is why we always say Edusa must not there and Edusa shall never there. With my experience, with my confidence, I, Ismail Jasi, your only international IPR, your only double engine IPR, the only committee member who have various functions within the same ministry. The ministry will not crumble, the ministry will not collapse, the ministry will not be demonized, it will not be reduced. Nothing will happen in the ministry. We shall be salvated from Islam. Edisa will be more vibrant. We are already vibrant. The transformation is already taking place. I want to continue doing the good work. So these are some of the reasons and achievements and skills that I possess that make me highly honored. That make me to be the only candidate for this position because I possess all these skills, both the writing and communication and various needed ICT skills that can enhance a proper and effective communication system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was clear. So we move on to Mr. Mamadou Sanu Jallo. Mr. Sanu, as I rightly asked your opponent, that is Mr. Ismail Jasi, what are the strengths of Mamadou Sanu Jallo that should actually entice us as the electorates for this upcoming election to actually vote you into office as the IPR?
All right, thank you, Mr. Sane. I've been listening to my opponent, Mr. Jasi, very well, but it's like Mr. Jasi is trying to have a storm from a teacup. Mr. Jasi is trying to use the issue of flyers in order to make things, to make a mountain from a sandhill. It is not possible. He is talking of the issue of innovation. So the issue of innovation, it is something that I agree with. But for one to be innovative, you have to have the skills. So the skills that he is saying, as he has the computer technologies, nobody lacks this. I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, do not lack these computer skills. I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, has gone through basic computer skills. From my grade 12, there is nobody in Nasir Senior Secondary School that will graduate without having basic computer skills. Going to Gambia College, there is no one who will graduate from the Gambia College without going through these basic computer skills. What he is saying here is just our basic things. These are things that I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, can use my phone, just a phone, to create a flyer. Creating a flyer is not it is something that just a layman on the street can do. Anybody can create a flyer now. Flyers are there. You have templates that you can get access to. You edit them. You send. Mr. Jassy here was sent into that IPRO ministry to make flyers. This is what he is not making clear to the public. Mr. Jassy was not in that IPRO ministry to write dispatches. Mr. Jassy here does not write more than 2 dispatches in that ministry, if he even writes one. Mr. Jassy is not a creative writer. Mr. Jassy is not an academic writer. So this is what he fails to tell the people. He just wants to throw dust into your eyes. But I believe Edusans are watching. And Edusans know, if Mr. Jassy is a writer of dispatches from scratch, let him get into the IPRO ministry and produce us 2 dispatches that he has written independently. Mr. Jassy cannot produce. I challenge him to do that.
Can you stick to the section that is the strength, your strength?
So my strength here is writing. I can write. We understand. Language is very important in communication. He accepts that communication is very important in the IPRO ministry. And in the IPRO ministry, for one to be able to communicate, you have to have a thorough understanding of the language. Which language are we speaking of here? It is not the Fula, it is not the Mandinka, it is not the Jola, it is not the Sarahule, it is the English language. You should be armed synthetically, you should be armed morphologically, you should be armed phonetically, you should be armed semantically in order to be able to send information that is consumable. And Mr. Jassy here is not armed. Mr. Jassy failed to tell you that he is a biology major, and biology has nothing to do with writing. Mr. Jassy fails to tell you that he would not write dispatches in the IPRO ministry. Just to make that clear, I am Mamadou Sanu Jallo. From the day that I enter into that ministry, Honorable Amusane is here. He is a living witness. I have written dispatches from scratch and edited dispatches, various dispatches in that ministry. This is Mamadou Sanu Jallo, who is a pen pusher. And Mamadou Sanu Jallo, who can do what Mr. Jassy is saying would revitalize the Education Students Association's Information Ministry. The Information Ministry would need an image, and that image is something that anybody outside can do. I am armed. Technically, I am armed. Psychologically, I am armed. Academically, to do all that is expected of an IPRO in that ministry. I have been working in that ministry and I have been writing dispatches, and Mr. Jassy here has been making flyers. That is what is happening in that ministry. So my strengths, I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, is available. I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, is a writer. I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, is a very good communicator. So this is what is expected, not flyers. Having flyers in the IPRO ministry is just like preparing a very sweet benachin and have some sorrel, which we call rangha, putting it on top. There is no way you can send in a complete information to Edusans or to anybody that can be consumed by them just with a flyer. A flyer is just there as a spice, just to make things a little bit clear. But what is important is the information, how the information is crafted. I have said this earlier. Information is not just you wake up one day and you write. You have to be very armed linguistically, and language is very important. Even the flyer that he is bragging that he can create, he needs language. And if his language is not upper, if his language is not complete, and if his language is not up to tax, this information that he will send will not be consumable, and that would defeat the purpose of the IPRO ministry. This is why I believe I am Mamadou Sanu Jallo, who is armed linguistically, can do this job. Who is armed technologically, I can do this job. Making flyers, I can take my phone right now here and make flyers. You have Canva, you have Flyer Wizards. All these are apps that you can use to make flyers within minutes and share them. So the IPRO ministry is not just there to make flyers, it's there to communicate information from the executive to the general student body. And in doing that, you need to be a very good communicator. You need to be linguistically, you need to be semantically, you need to be morphologically, you need to be psychologically, and that is what Mamadou Sanu Jallo get and Edusans are watching. The dust that is thrown into your eyes, I know will not blind you. You have your candidate, you have Mamadou Sanu Jallo, who is ready, who is armed, who has everything armed to the teeth to deliver services, to deliver dispatches that are up and apart, dispatches that are of quality, dispatches that are of good content, not only to be as an IPRO who would claim to transmogrificate the IPRO ministry with dispatches. Dispatches cannot bring anything in that IPRO ministry. But flyers cannot bring anything in that IPRO ministry. But what can bring that anything good in that IPRO ministry is having the control of the language. And the language here is important both in the dispatch and both in the flyers that Mr. Jassy is claiming. So this is why I said Mamadou Sanu Jallo is a candidate that is not a match to my opponent when it comes to the IPRO ministry. And he knows that.
Thank you. So it's getting hot, and listeners can attest to this. These are the aspirants, the information and communications ministers, those who are ready to serve us in the information ministry of the 14th Executive Council. Well, it's getting hot, and then we want it to be hotter as it goes. So this is it. We now move on to the other areas. Since the declaration of intent, we've had the populace talking about these candidates. We've had lots of criticisms. I want to bring some of the criticisms to your face, and then you tell me, you defend yourself out of those criticisms. One of them that I do hear about Mr. Jassy is that people will say the ministry is not all about being able to create flyers, and you've heard your opponent saying the same. So can you please defend yourself? Will you tell us that this is not actually the case? It has everything to do with creating flyers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Sana, for giving me the latitude and even to particularly talk about flyer issue. Before I even go further, you see, political maturity is very much important, considering my opponent how he has been ranting about me alone before he even talk about his own question. Here, what is more important, I have to make few clarifications here. I was working in the secretariat. I was later deployed to the Information and Communication Ministry. My role alone, the number of dispatches, the number of communication I made during the nationwide tour alone is enough. He was never found. He did not attend the nationwide tour. And this is one of the most crucial activities as a council member that you are bound to attend. I said it here. I was penalized for a grade because of this nationwide tour. I have been updating in the group. I have been updating various platforms to students about this. How many times have I been at the field? Records are there in the information ministry. Sunny will say, Ismail, how far? I say, I'll be there, I'll cover the mark. I have read numerous number of dispatches. They are uncountable. Even the Congress dispatch, I have a hand there. I started that one from scratch. So writing dispatches, I've been doing it to a certain extent. My boss, Sunny will tell me, Ismail, please, you have to relax, You just do the flyer today, you are really doing good. And the other thing is, just to quickly clarify this, I've been a biology major. Let me just take a good example from him. This man standing here is an economics major. And, being an economic major, he convinced the education students and he was able to be the, IPRO, and he has been a very top-notch IPRO. He's been celebrated. His jobs are really good. He has very good writing skills, and he was an economic major. Was he an English major? Number one. We have seen best writers in the University of the Gambia who are not even English majors. We have seen best publicers here, best public speakers who are not even English majors. That grammar alone, that mere raw writing, that traditional English is not going to take the ministry to anywhere. Why are we going to the media? Why is that media visibility is important? I'm happy he already acknowledged that. I have a skill which he completely lacked and haven't failed to acknowledge it to a certain extent that flyer is a mere thing that everybody can do. If that is the case, they would have assigned him to be doing the work. Why was I the only one who was assigned to do the work? Because I'm a professional designer. I know how to do the job. I do it neatly, accurately. This is a skill which I acquired since 2019. I've been in the field of information and communication for more than 3 years now. This alone is key. I've said this one here. Edusa is a non-profit organization. All the IT-related work that I have been doing, if we were to pay people for this, by now the council, we will have been talking about something else because the financial capacity of the council, is very much crucial. So, and let me tell him to know that our secretarial lead mate, I was part of the 12th Executive Council. I still have the archive. Who drafted the concept note? That concept note, the proposal, it was sent to GTU. This led to the successful training of female students, 33 female students in the School of Education. Writing is never my problem. I have read different dispatches. My communication alone in the nationwide was enough. The number of communiques I did in the nationwide was quite enough. Why was I deployed from the Secretary of Ministry? Because the Ministry, that media visibility, that vibrant nature they want, is lacking. If he was there, they would have just employed him to do that flyer work because the skill is not there, the intellectual dexterity is not there. He lacked that skill. That is why he could not do that work and have been drafting dispatches from scratch. I can count a number of dispatches that I have been writing. I can fully remember Emerson will sometimes tell him that you're an English major, sometimes the way you write, you have to consider your this one or two things, This is very much important. Sometimes even certain words, as a grammarian, he will be hooked on that. Sir will clearly tell him this. You have to work on this because you're an English major. People like us, I'm a biology major. I'm a computer science minor. I have been writing. I have those good writing skills. I have those communication skills, and I can be able to translate all these things in the effective communication system. Coming to the question, students saying that I've been redeployed to information ministry just to make flyers. Now that alone is key. It's like something that is lacking. You bring in somebody to solve that problem. Why was I redeployed? I was working in the secretariat of the 13th Executive Council. But, there's a lapse. There is something that was not done, and it has not been happening. That is why I was allowed, I was invited, I was encouraged that please you have to be part of this ministry. And one of the things about any ministry, if you are there, there's nothing like this is the job this other person should do also. When it comes to writings, we all have the opportunity, we will all be assigned to write. But I'm the only person whom they will specifically tax to do a particular work. They never tag anybody, can you design a flyer? They will only say, Ismail, please, can you design a flyer? And when they are tagging members, can we write? There is a dispatch that we're supposed to write. They will tag members. Nobody is an exception there. Meaning, everybody has the writing skills. The skill is in everybody. Otherwise, they will have specifically mentioned. There is never a point in time that Sanitara will be tagged. Mama Sanitara, can you write this? Anytime writing, there is a need for writing for us to communicate students. This is the language. Members, please, can we act on this? Can we? He always uses can we. So that skill alone is something else. And I think this is very much important as education students because I've said this earlier on here. I realized that there are a lot of problems in the information ministry that needed to be addressed. When I say problems here, there are certain things here that are not been happening and, they are very crucial. Look at Edusa, this is not the first executive council. We have witnessed 11 executive council. Before 11 executive council, there was another council. Before that one, there was another council. Before that one, there was another council. There was another council. There was another council. Before. All these councils were there. Up to now, we are going to there. 14th executive council. Why is it very much peculiar? I am the first student who initiated the flyer policy. Why Edusa is very much vibrant now is because of this. So I would have worked in the 13th executive council as a secretarial member. I've been writing. I read very powerful concept note. I read a lot of memos there. But why did they redeploy me to come to the information ministry? Because that ministry is handicapped. I'm the only qualified, capable, able, highly skillful, top-notch graphic designer in the information and communication ministry and in the School of Education in general. That is where I have been redeployed to be in that ministry. So this alone is something else. So if people are saying it's because of flyer creation, I think that is just a mere talk. Because my role, in fact, in the nationwide, I've been communicating various communities, to students. So that alone, speaks volume. And I wrote a lot of dispatches in the information and communication ministry, which my opponent here cannot refute. Send that one or two dispatches. How many dispatches have I been writing? How many dispatches did I even edit of fish? A grammarian who cannot spell educence, will be saying edudance. A grammarian, you have been that? I have been correcting his work. Accuracy. Anytime when we write a dispatch, organization is very important in this. That is why I always proofread the dispatch to ensure that the date, the venue and everything are properly labeled on this communication until it is finally vetted. Because I have those, skills. These are skills that I possess that if Edusa want to be at that next level, it cannot be possible unless they bring somebody from outside. If he can be able to do this, why was he not doing it? Is it because of the position now he claimed that he can do it? Why were he not doing it? I was not part of his committee. I was not part of the ministry. I was already deployed. If he was able to have these skills to be able to do this, if he had the skill, the ability, the capability to be able to do this, they would have not, redeployed me, telling me, just, you know what, come from the secretariat, come and work in the information ministry. This is because this skill is lacking, and this element is very crucial. Currently, I'm even doing all I'm preparing the hours for the council alone. And I'm a very resourceful person, doing a lot of services for education students at zero cost. I said this one here. All the services are rendered to Edusa. If this was for a paid services, I would have gotten over 20,000 plus because even if I alone, you can charge somebody for more than 150 or $200. So that alone is a skill that they should understand that this is key, and that is not the only thing. I can write, I have been writing because I work in the 12th Executive Council. I'm the only committee member who has the institutional memory of working in 2 different councils. I work in the 12th Executive Council. I'm still working in the 13th Executive Council. I did secretarial job. Secretarial job has to do with writing. I did that work several times. Even in the 13th Executive Council, I was part of this committee. But why was I redeployed to Information Ministry? Because there is a skill that is lacking there. There is technical know-how that is lacking there. There is something that cannot be possible, that cannot be done. That is why my service have to be, called. My attention have to be called. Please, you know what? You must come to this ministry. There is this lacking here. There is this lacking there. Every time I have to be, sometimes I will even have to sacrifice and forgo 1 or 2 things to be doing this flyer, communication. I think even today, why people are able to know that the program is happening is because of the flyer. A lot of students cannot even read, but the flyer was very viral everywhere, and this flyer alone, it gives that, publicity. Students were able to know that this program is coming to take place here, and even this flyer was designed by me. Why didn't he design the flyer? If he had the skill, if he had the technical know-how, as he claimed, why have he not been doing this? I'm a software engineer, let me tell you. I'm a final year computer science student and biology. I did certificate diploma, advanced diploma in IT. I'm a content creator. I'm a professional graphic designer. I'm an ICT tutor. I'm the head of St. Francis Upper and Senior Secondary School ICT department. I've been working in the information and communication services for more than 3 good years now. My experience cannot be compared to you. Having that basic little knowledge in senior secondary school cannot warrant you, cannot give you that guarantee, cannot give you that ability to say that I can be able to do this. This is not one thing job. You must spend time. I've been doing this for a long time. My IT career started since 2019. I'm a science teacher. I teach physics, chemistry, biology, and general science. There's a dynamism of the change of, career in my field. I'm somebody who is very much creative and skillful for that. That is why I have that ability. I say from science, I'm still in the sciences and, following the part of what I did. So my career part, is quite interesting. So I think this, quietly and, adequately, and I did justice to Edusans who are claiming that Ismail Jazi is only in the 12th, 13th Executive Council in the Information and Communication Ministry just to make flyers. If this was not important, why did they redeploy me to go to that place to do this work? Why was I redeployed from the Secretariat? I said I served in his whole council for 1 year, writing. That is 12th Executive Council. Now they sent me to this ministry. There's something like in that. That is why I'm being invited to go and address that situation. So this alone is important. We are a non-profit organization, so we know what it will take for somebody to be doing all this work if the person doesn't have this school. So I am your only candidate who has the communication skills. Very eloquent. A biology major talking to you like this. I'm not even struggling to be with words, to be saying certain word, amba. I'm very eloquent. I'm very, vibrant. I have the command of the language. I'm a communicator. I'm a facilitator. I'm a trainer. I can be able to translate. I can be able to communicate effectively, properly, to ensure that a proper and effective, vibrant communication system is in place. A biology major who is doing this. I'm a biology major. People say that some students cannot talk or they cannot write. It's my jazz here. Talking like what? Speaking fluently, very vocal, very eloquent, the only unmatched candidate, the most experienced candidate, the most competent candidate, highly unmatched, the intellectual dexterity, everything is there. I am your only unmatched candidate. Never make that mistake, for you to vote for my disappointing candidate here. He does not have the skill. It's like you have one skill and the other one is lacking. You cannot tell him that I have a mobile phone without the SIM card. This is how he is. In information ministry, you can only write. You cannot do the other part. I am here. I've been writing. I I can write and I will continue writing. I have another skill that is lagging in him. So what am I going to take? Somebody has one skill, this one has two. That's why they live in master, double engine, dual role. Manual minus of responsibilities in that ministry. I can do this, I can do that. He can only do this, he cannot do that. So can you compare somebody who can do this, cannot do that?
Thank you.
My friend Edusa, I hope you are watching and you are able to, differentiate the chaff from the grain, You're only on my candidate. Thank you very much. And as the, debate continue, you shall hear more from us. More other things will be unveiling. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I told you, I promise you, and then you can be your own witness. So, Mr. Jallo, as I said, we have students who debunk or who criticize any of the candidates we have criticisms for them. So, students said it is not enough to be a good writer, for the Information and Communications Ministry position. So, what do you have to say about this? And your opponent also buttressed on this particular point. That is to say, it is not enough to be a writer, to be chosen as the Information and Communication Minister. What do you have to say?
Well, thank you very much. I have heard Mr. Jassy shouting here, saying things that are unfounded and saying things that have not even happened in the ministry. So saying Mr. Honorable ML Sar, who is an honorable person, that attacking my grammar in the information ministry is the highest level of immaturity that one can say on TV. So I would indulge him to be politically sound and politically wise. So that is things that happen in the ministry, even though they are just cook up stories, they are just lies against Honorable Sar. So Honorable Sar has never attacked my character, has never attacked my writing in that page. But that has only informed Edusans about his little knowledge in writing. Writing has stages, and these stages must be followed. You have the planning stage, you have the drafting stage, then you have other stages that follows, the writing stage and the publication stage. So editing a dispatch is just a normal thing in writing process. I can edit any dispatch in the information ministry. Honorable Sir can edit any dispatch in the information ministry. There is no perfect human being. There is no perfect writer, be it Achebe, be it Wally, be it even the best writers, Anja Mayalu, name them, they all edit their works. All publications are edited. All works of arts, all writings are edited. So, because an edited dispatch of Muhammad Sanu Jallo in that IPRO ministry is what Ismaila Jassy want to anchor to say that I am incapable to write. That is unfounded, and he should withdraw that, and he should tell Edusan that he has lied against Honorable Sar. Honorable Sar is an honorable member, and I respect him, and I learn from him, and I work with him. He is not as Ismaila is putting him to be. So, when it comes to the issue of flyers that Mr. Jassy is still reiterating, and to craft that information in that flyer, it must be linguistically apt. It must be edited. And in editing that, you need to arm yourself linguistically. So saying you have been working in you have been working in education, the ministries of secretary generals, that is unproven. If that was the case, you would be able to do the writing. Even the day that you are added into that ministry, you can attest, you are added, followed by a short message that Ismaila Jassy is added here to help us create flyers. That does not mean those in that ministry cannot create flyers. A ministry should contain, according to the constitution, at least 8 members, at most 8 members. So we were few in that ministry, and the ministry is a ministry, the information ministry is a ministry that works 24/7. Information can come at any time. So when information comes, that information needs to be acted upon. So in acting upon that information, sometimes not everybody can be available. So this is why you are there as a as a flyer maker, not a writer. So even in making your flyers, you need us to edit your flyers. So saying you see the mediocrity that I made a mistake of writing Edusa, Edu dance. So Edu dance, these are just minor errors that anybody can make when writing. So you cannot base your argument on because I cannot spell it. Any conscious person, any conscious Edusa would understand there is nobody, there is no one in the University of the Gambia, even at nursery level, children would be able to spell Edusa. So that has just shown how he wants to cook stories to score cheap political points. So Mr. Jassy is here saying he create a website. If he creates a website, let him produce that website. Why is he keeping it? If he creates a website for the Education Students Association, why is he keeping it? Let him show Edusa that he creates a website. Creating a website is not a child's play. You can make your research. For you to create a website, you need the domains. And that domain, the domain to receive those data must be bought. And you are now trying to put the Education Students Association, the account of that association, at stake. So that is not a reasonable, and it's not a reasonable idea. It's not qualified to be within the School of Education because this is not achievable. If Mr. Jassy can create that, but Mr. Jassy cannot maintain that. Maintenance of websites. We know Education Students Association is a non-profit making organization, as he is saying. And a non-profit making organization do not have the financial muscle to do that. He said he's a final year student. If he's a final year student, and at the end of the day, he graduates, who will maintain that? Even him, he cannot maintain that website. That website needs experts to be maintained, and that requires what? It requires funds. So that is not a policy that is attainable. We understand policies as politicians. We must understand policies are made based on few things that you need to put into consideration. That your policy should be smart. How should it be smart? It should be smart because it should be measurable, it should be attainable, it should be realistic, and it should be time bound. So that policy you are trying to bring to score cheap political point, cover all this? No. So the Edusans are watching, and Edusans understand that in the IPRO ministry, the person needed is not a computer technician as he claimed, or a flyer maker as he claimed, but somebody who has the knowledge of the English language. And the knowledge of the English language is not just coming here, cramming lines, giving them word after word, is making sure that the language that you have written is correct when it comes to punctuation, it's correct when it comes to semantics, it's correct when it comes to morphology, it's correct. You, as an IPRO minister, you need to stay and you need to moderate programs. But the way Mr. Ismail Jassy is putting things here, I have not seen any communication skills here. Communication should be reciprocal. Communication should be a give and take. So Mr. Jassy is just taking lines from memory, saying one after the other. This is not what is expected of an IPRO ministry or of an IPRO minister from the Education Students Association. So he claimed that Mr. Lamin Sane is an economic major and he is the IPRO. But forgetting Mr. Lamin Sane was at the college studying English language. So he does not understand that IPRO ministry needs a person who has the language at hand, who has the language at his or her disposal. Look at section 16, subsection 3 of the subsection 3 of the Edusa Constitution. It says the IPRO would be the sole mouthpiece, and being the sole mouthpiece, you need language as a tool to communicate, not flyers. Now we are standing here. Is Mr. Jassy using a flyer to communicate to Edusans? No, he is using the language. And this language is written in words. This language is written in sounds. This language is written in structures. And these structures, you must understand them to be able to communicate. So the language is very key. The language is the pivotal pillar within the IPRO ministry. Anything that comes next is just an adjustment from the language. So this is why Edusa should understand, and I will emphasize this. Language in the IPRO ministry should not be second. It should be second to none. It should be second to none. So currently, the IPRO ministry has become an envy to all other schools, not because of the flyers. Mr. Jassy cannot tell me it's because of his flyers. We have BPA; they made better flyers than other schools. We have SOSA, we have law, we have seen flyers, we have been seeing beautiful flyers around. But why do you think the IPRO ministry under Honorable Lamin Sane is the best? It's because of the language that is put into these pages. Mr. Jassy, you have to understand that it is not your flyers. If it were your flyers, then BPA would stand there and say, yes, we also have flyers that are of the same quality with yours. But they didn't do that. Because the education, Edusa has an IPRO ministry that has people in that ministry that have the language at their disposal. They twist, they turn, they improvise, they write the language how, when, where, and whenever they need it. Not because flyers are sent. This is what Edusans should understand. Mr. Jassy is using saying technology to throw dust or to put glue into the eyes of the voters. But Mr. Jassy, I want you to understand that these Edusans, these people understand that language is the pillar. There is nowhere you would see a construction where the painting begins. It is always the foundation. Then from the foundation to the erection. From erection, you have your roof. Before you paint your house, this flyer issue you are talking is just like when you construct a room, you paint it. It's just a paint. It's a finishing sort of. But the foundation is what people will read. All the information that people need cannot be in a flyer. Cannot be in a flyer. In fact, the flyer, whatever is in that flyer is a subset of the actual dispatch. It's a subset of the actual dispatch. So this is what you have to understand. And you lack that. You lack the ability to craft language, to craft dispatches that are fit for consumption. I know that, you know that, and everybody knows that. This is why the people are saying you can only make dispatches. And in every rumor, there is an element of truth. In every rumor, there is an element of truth. So this is why I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, vying for this position, for this particular position, Edusans, understand this is a crucial position that requires what I am having, and that is the pen. And the pen must bounce before Edusans would have the information ministry that they need, not flyers. Flyers are just rangha bisab sikaw benachin. Benachin bu toy, bu am yapa, bu am jen. So this is what I want Edusans to understand. With ranka bisab or without ranka bisab, the benachin is always palatable. And that is my tool. And that is what I have. And that is what I want to give Edusans. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you doubt the words of the politicians, you've not heard them. So these are just a synopsis of what they can actually do. We can go a very long time here, listening to them, and we will not be satisfied. In fact, we will not be enough of whatever they will say here. But then, because time is always an enemy, and because this program is actually time bound, what we want to do is, since we were signaled that we have only 5 minutes to go, I just want to give each of the candidates just 2 minutes to wrap up things. And that is to say, just to please plead to any of them to avoid, the personal debates for now, and also to actually concentrate on one of the questions that I just want to ask. That is, Mr. Jassy, I want you to outline some of the innovative strategies you want to bring into the information ministry if you are voted in. Just a very brief one, under 2 minutes, so that we can wrap things up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Sana, for granting me the largest. But I please want to clarify something here because it has to do with a policy which I'm coming to talk about. First of all, I have to express my dissatisfaction and my this political immaturity. See, you lied against somebody. You are a communication officer. You are speaking in such kind of language. You have to police your language. This is very much important. You want to be a communicator. You want to represent the mouthpiece of the council. Section 16, paragraph 3. You are saying lying. Saying such kind of language in public media like this. What a disgrace from him. A communication officer claiming to be. The other thing is the website. I did not ever say that I built a website. I said I developed a prototype. You see, lack of knowledge and technical know-how is very much serious. That is why if you go to a hospital, the nurses have to diagnose you. Before they even, take your BP also, you have to relax for some time so that they can be able to know. Because otherwise, if your BP is high, you are from exercise, they cannot be able to have accurate measurements, accurate data. So him saying that I did not ever say that I built a website. I said I will build the first ever website and launch it for Edusa. He himself, if he read as he is claimed to be a writer, he will have the opportunity to publish his work. He knows you have various writers in the School of Education that does not have the opportunity to publish their work. There is no medium for it. And the first student who is coming up with this, and sustaining the website is very much important. You did not know what is about domain name. The domain name is something like edusa.com. That is the domain name. If you register it, you have 1 year, you have 2 years plan, you have 3 years plan. We call it as the baby plan, the hunching plan, and also the business plan. The business plan could go up to 3 years. Do you know you can only host this website just for $42, less than $2,000, and this is for the entire year. You are saying, do you even know the sustenance about this website? Website is about CMS, content management system. Anybody could do this. It is a stuff when it is uploaded there once. Let's take a good example from the University of the Gambia. The website is still there. They have been changing stuff, but it does not necessarily mean that you person after leaving that office. Of course, other people are coming that will maintain the website. It's just a matter of what. Handing over all the necessary, credentials to the next coming council that will be able to continue the good work. So it's very unique, but I will not blame you because the technical know-how, you are a BBC, he is born before computer. That is why he's even coming up with this, so I will not doubt it. And coming to your question, Honorable Lamin Sane, about the skills or the innovation that I will bring. You see, that is why I always say this, a creative mind is a fertile land for growth. Fellow education students of the University of the Gambia, Edusa, I want you to listen and listen attentively, keenly. You have to focus here because of the information I am coming to say. You see, most often if I am passing by Chancery, anytime you see students, Jaji, come and help us, we prepare this PowerPoint presentation. Jaji, can you help us analyze this? That I was like, it's like there's a problem there. One of the problems is what? The capacity building. In biology, we call this carrying capacity. In ecology, this is called a carrying capacity. I can tell you some of this that you know about it. So, one of the things that I'm going to bring in Edusa, that is this digitalization of Edusa, transformation of Edusa. That is the building of Edusa website. There is no website in Edusa, and I did not build it for now. Did I say I built it? No, there is no website for Edusa. When you say prototype, this simply means that the outline, you have to design, even a building, you cannot just come and say, I'm coming to do a building. You have to draw the plan. That's what we mean by the prototype, by making sure that we have, knowing fully well that we have various organs. That is the executive organ, the EC organ, the advisory board, and the legislative organ. These are the things that are to be put in the website there. So one of the things is very much important here, fellow education students, that is the website. When we go for the nationwide tour, most of the things are not in the archive. But during the nationwide, some of these things can be uploaded on this website at any time. Even this fine TV program here, we can upload these things here, and people can go and boil down through the link, and this will link them to Facebook. They'll be able to have that opportunity. The other thing is what? Is the strengthening of partnership. This is an innovation I'll bring. You understand that there is a current partnership existing thanks to the 13th Executive Council, and he is currently moderating. That is fine TV here. Every Sunday we used to have Edusa Hour. Most of the people they always invite here is the Edusa students, is the Secretary General, the President or the Vice President. But now we want to go beyond borders. We want to go global. We want to go beyond the box. We want to bring different kind of people here. We have important stakeholders here. The Minister of Basic Education, the GTU, the Minister of Higher Education. You have all the influential people, all the motivators that can inspire people. So I am coming to rebrand, diversify, strengthening the already existing partnership that is happening now. If you are inviting the Minister of Education, last time we had a training with them, competency-based curriculum. They can come to this platform. We talk about the CBC. Students will have that opportunity. A lot of teachers are saying a lot of things about GTU. We can invite GTU personnel here. They will say a lot of things that students can be able to learn and be aware of. We can invite the Minister of Higher Education here. So we are going to diversify, we are going to strengthen it, and we are going to rebrand. And the other thing is here is the capacity building training. We are going to build the capacity of education students. Communication is key in terms of capacity building. And how can this be done? That is, we are going to organize training. The Information and Communication Ministry, in collaboration with the Research Ministry, we are going to train students for an effective, proper teaching and learning process to be done. This has to be in place. I have been always bothered with a lot of assignments. A lot of students tell me about education assignment, prepare lecture notes for me, PowerPoint presentation. That is why I want to conduct this training. I will train education students how to prepare PowerPoint lecture notes. I will train education students how to analyze data. I will train education students how to use Mendeley referencing tool. This is a modern technology tool that can be used to generate references and in-text citation. APA 7 edition. So these are some of the innovations and skills that we want to bring in. So fellow education students, I hear you, Ismail Jasi, highly experienced, highly skillful, have the writing skills, communication skills, the ICT related skills to enhance effective, proper and vibrant communication system. Do not make that mistake of voting for this Mohammed Sani Jallah here. The other skill is lagging. I have both. That is the good news. I have both. He has one. So if you have both, it's more advantageous than somebody who has one. 2 and 1 cannot be compared even in math. So it's more than 1. That is a simple math. Probably he's still facing maybe other issues in math. Because he's a grammar and English major. That's a problem. But I as a scientist, yeah, talking fluently, eloquently. I'm a science student. You're an English major. We are talking about the grammar. You cannot come to our side. You are not versatile in our field. I am versatile in your field. I am versatile in my own field. I am a double engine. The only international IPR, the highly unmatched IPR, the most competent candidate, the highly experienced candidate, somebody who served in the 12th and the 13th Executive Council, Ismail Jasi, Joe Ali International IPR. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, thank you very much, Mr. Dello. Likewise, you want to tell us the policies you have in store for us, just briefly, in under 2 minutes, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sane. I can see I have already gingered my man, and he is on his toes, but it is not news to me. I know him. He is misbehaving and not even facing the audience. So, going to buttressing on what Mr. Jasi said here, I think he is dreaming so big. He's dreaming so big of creating a website for Edusa. That is a big dream, and we respect dreams, but dreams are only dreams until you put plans that can achieve them. And his plans does not seem, it's not even closer to be achievable. So I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, I believe that what Martin Luther King said should be put into practice. That even though you cannot make great moves, but always make a move. Always, I will quote him. And he said, and I quote, if you cannot fly, run. If you cannot run, walk. If you cannot walk, crawl. But always make sure you make a move. And in making that move, I would not resort to dreaming like Ismail Ajasi is dreaming here, that he will have a website and he will buy a domain. I think there should be a step-by-step movement that will take us to the promised land. First, I understand and I am cognizant that the Education Students Association have people in them that are passionate about writing, that are passionate about publishing their materials. I have a plan for them. And this plan is not Ismaila's plan. That will take us 200 years. That will take us our whole educational career, and it will not be achievable. What I, Mamadou San Jallo, would do is I will strengthen this current partnership with Fine TV and Tranga FM and make sure I go outside and lobby for partnership with other TV and radio stations. That I will do because I understand the Education Students Association, members of the Education Students Association need to be heard. And in doing that, Edusa as an organization cannot do that alone. It needs partnership. So in doing that, I will make sure I renew the already existing partnerships and make sure create other partnerships with other organizations. So I will also work with the Education and Research Ministry of the 14th Executive Council to have a daily publication program within the School of Education, which is achievable. Not all the writers in education are added to all WhatsApp pages, but as an IPRO minister in waiting, I have the privilege to be in all these with my deputy. I will make sure there will be a special day in every week where every article within the School of Education will be reviewed and articles will be selected for publication so that this would give the people, the writers in the School of Education, a wide range of audience. Not only that, I understand students coming into the School of Education, especially freshmen and women, they find it very difficult to access information. And this IPRO ministry should do that because that is their responsibility. And in doing that, I, Mamadou Sanu Jallo, a ministry, IPRO ministry, under Mamadou Sanu Jallo, would work with the faculty office to have what I call a help desk. Having a help desk is sustainable. It does not cost the Information Ministry anything, and it does not cost the 14th Executive Council anything. This help desk would comprise members of my committee, whereas I will find information. I will have contacts in this ministry. We make sure we have contacts of all lecturers in the School of Education, even lecturers in other schools, but that take courses that School of Educations are taking, so that if any students need assistance, if any student need help regarding issues of academic, would not go directly to the office of the faculty office, but will come through us, then we will facilitate that for them. So the IPRO ministry under Mamadou Sanu Jallo would be a ministry that is responsive, would be a ministry that will not dream about things that are not achievable, but will take a step, will use the current existing portfolios that are already there, will look at the loopholes and use them as a springboard to take this ministry to the promised land. So I will also work with the Secretary General and the Education